When we were starting Worldschooling, I had a hard time finding any kind of books. I mean, maybe there was like one book and it wasn't specifically to Worldschooling. It was like about a family traveling around the world with her, a mom traveling around the world with her kids. That one is called At Home in the World. And that was like the one book that I found that was about Worldschooling. And now there's a lot.
This is Worldschooling Q&A. I'm Astrid, creator of The Wandering Daughter. As a traveling family, we've spent 4 years traveling full-time to over 18 countries and 6 continents. Wherever we go, we try to learn as much as we can about the countries and cultures we visit. While we didn't coin the term, we like to call this Worldschooling, using the world as our classroom. Each week, my husband Clint and I will answer one question about Worldschooling and share our experiences of traveling the world with our kids. Ready to get started? Great! Let's dive in.
Okay, today's question is, what resources are available for families new to Worldschooling?
So we've covered some of this in a previous episode, but this will just be more of a deep dive in kind of some of those resources in general. I know there's one resource that you want to mention right off the bat, so why don't you go for that?
Yes, you can go to my website. My website, thewanderingdaughter.com, is a great resource if you're new to Worldschooling and you want to learn all about it. I do have an article specifically called Worldschooling Resources, but there's also dozens of articles on topics related to Worldschooling. So, I invite you to check it out and just get as much of the information from there as you can about that.
I think additionally to your blog, there are a number of blogs out there that are about, or they're within the Worldschooling or digital nomad world. So blogs are great resources just because they're anecdotal. They're from people actually traveling. Those are great. And then on top of that is social media.
Yeah.
Of course, Instagram is a great place to find people.
Yeah.
Facebook is huge. I mean, the majority of the Worldschooling population has a presence on Facebook.
Yeah.
There's Worldschooling groups on Facebook for all sorts of types of Worldschooling, but also digital nomad families. Also regions. You can find Facebook groups for Turkey, for Bali, for Mexico, specifically like Playa del Carmen or southern Spain.
Yeah.
I
have a Facebook group called Responsible Family Travel that's focused on Worldschoolers who are committed to traveling sustainably and ethically. But again, the Facebook groups can be like big groups, or they can be like small, very small, focused groups too. So it covers anything that is of interest to you. I'd continue on with like books. There's a lot of books so when we were starting Worldschooling, I had a hard time finding any kind of books. I mean, maybe there was like one book and it wasn't specifically to Worldschooling. It was like about a family traveling around the world with her, a mom traveling around the world with her kids. That one is called At Home in the World. And that was like the one book that I found that was about Worldschooling. And now there's a lot. You have this book called Hit the Road, A Badass Mom's Guide. I have it written here because I don't want to mess up the title. Hit the Road, A Badass Mom's Guide for Families Who Want to Travel. It's written by our friend Zaylee Polan. And then another book called Wonder Year, which is written by 3 ladies, but it's a guide for families who want to do long-term travel or who want to get started on their Worldschooling journey.
Yep. I'd say on top of books, there's also lots of videos. There are plenty of families, Worldschooling families, digital nomad families that like to share videos. One of our favorite families that we know is Jimmy and Sandy Fallon. Not that Jimmy Fallon, but a different Jimmy Fallon. Jimmy and Sandy Fallon
they're called Trying Something New. They have a great YouTube channel with all sorts of stuff. And they're an RVing family. So their style of world schooling is traveling around the US in their RV.
Mm-hmm. And they have some international stuff when they've gone international as well. So that's a great one.
Yeah. I think the other one, oh my gosh, Sarah and Massimo. I'll include their YouTube channel in the links too, because they have a great one. They've been traveling around the world for probably about the same time that we. I think they probably started in like 2018, but they've gone to so many countries around the world, and that's just great inspiration for like destinations if you're interested in that.
That's a good one for contrast too, because we often talk about slow travel. That's how we like to travel, and they've been primarily fast travel for their entire world schooling experience. So it's a nice one to see kind of a contrast.
Yeah. Yep. Um, in addition, so beyond just like, finding videos, I think there are podcasts too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you can definitely listen to the other episodes in our podcast. But just search up, world schooling on like your podcast app that you listen to, and you'll find a few other podcasts that are on that topic.
Mm-hmm. So I think beyond like world schooling specific types of resources, what are some resources that might be resources that you use while you're world schooling?
Yeah. So when we were traveling, and we traveled around the world from 2018 to 2022, and did homeschooling while we were there. So when we were traveling, some of the apps that we used or we relied heavily on were like Duolingo is a great one, because it gives us a chance to like learn the language that we're of the countries that we're visiting. Um, I think you did like Khan Academy with the
Yeah.
kids for
Yep.
math, and also there's other topics besides math that Khan Academy is great for, especially for older kids. And then if your kids are younger, like when we started traveling, our son was only 4, and so he was learning how to read. So we did Khan Kids, which is geared towards like preschoolers. That was really fun for him to use that. And then the other thing is we relied on like online classes. So
Mhm.
Outschool is a great resource for doing online classes, for kids to do online classes. We had them take drawing classes, and they did like um, drawing classes. They did like a math class
Yeah.
together. They did coding classes, karate, ballet. They even did, when we were in spending time in North America, we had them take a class about like Native American history, so
Mhm.
that we can, and taught by an indigenous person. So it was really awesome to like have that resource available, to be able to like offer it to our kids.
Yeah, one other thing I want to mention about various apps and stuff. There's also number of apps. I'm kind of an app geek. I love geeking out on what's out there. But keeping in touch with family and friends is a huge part of world
Yeah.
schooling. And luckily, we don't live in the day where Skype is the only option anymore. Like
Right.
literally every app out there, you can do some sort of video conferencing call or
Yeah.
something. But there's some specific ones I think that have been really helpful. We used Facebook Messenger for kids for a while, because that gives some nice controls to the parents on who the kids are friending. So especially if your kids are younger, it's a great way to feel safer about who they have contacts with.
Mhm.
That's really nice. There's a great app called Marco Polo, and Marco Polo is simply just like quick video messages back and forth. So that's a nice way to just have a face to the message. So apps like that I think are really helpful for kind of keeping communication. And then additionally, like, sending pictures back home and stuff like that. There's a there's a cool there's a very cool digital picture frame by Aura, Aura, and you can basically have an app that sends photos to that picture frame. So say, leave a picture frame at grandma's house, and as you're traveling around the
Yeah.
world, update it with photos as you're traveling.
Yeah.
So that can be things like that are nice ways. They're not technically resources for world schooling, but it's part of like
Keeping
staying
in touch.
connected.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing to kind of go back to like books is, you don't have to bring books with you. You can have ebooks. And if your public library where you're at has like an ebook collection, you can have access to that through most public libraries are available through like the Libby app. But you can also just like, have a Kindle or some kind of like ebook reader that you bring along with you so that you have access to books to learn while you're traveling.
Yeah, and you don't have to buy a Kindle or anything. There's Kindle now has apps for every single device that you have. So your computer, your tablet, your phone, anything.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about the hubs too?
Yeah, hubs are a great way. They're a great resource for people that want a little bit more guidance or a little bit more predictability on the community that is going to be in a certain area. So what world schooling hubs are essentially is there's usually a fee involved, and that fee can vary widely depending on what you're getting.
Yeah.
And it can be, we've talked about this in the previous episode, but like a hub can be as simple as like just a gathering of people in a certain area over a certain duration of time. Or it can be as advanced as basically almost like an all-inclusive resort where your meals, your activities, your lodging and stuff is all covered for one fee.
Yeah.
And they are all over the world. There's some in Mexico. There's some in Europe. There's some in Asia, I believe. They're just scattered all throughout. There's one in India.
And there are like pop-up ones too that are just temporary that will be like a week. And they're, in different places around the world. So
yeah.
Yeah.
And as far as I know, they are all created by families that are currently world schooling. So it's not like it's a corporation like Hilton or something that's trying to do a world schooling pop-up entice them. No, these are all created by people within the community. And they're just trying to create that sense of community across the world. What else is there? Do you want to mention anything about like coaching or the courses?
Yeah. So I think the other thing is sometimes like world schooling or just the thought of doing that can be a little bit daunting if you don't have like a guide or something. And I mentioned some books already, and I forgot to mention, like I have an ebook too called Hey Kids, Let's Go Travel. And it's a guide for getting started or getting planned for a gap year. So it does cover a lot of the things like you would need to know if you're going to be world schooling for a gap year. So I would suggest that as a good resource for you as well. But if you do need a little bit more like hand holding, especially, some families just, it's like, I've read the books, I've watched the videos, I joined the Facebook group, but I don't know, I still can't take that step. Our friend Liz Quain offers a great coaching course, she offers a great like world schooling course that's like 12 weeks long, and you sign up and go through the course, and she covers like, how to plan for your trip, what to do for educating your kids, how to find a job, or like how to fund your travels, like everything that you probably would be worried about, or maybe you don't even know like what you're supposed to think about, to get started on world schooling. She kind of covers that. And her philosophy is to help you like become a digital nomad, because that's really where you're going to get like the ultimate freedom to world school whenever you want.
Yeah.
So I encourage you to look into that if that's something that you're interested in pursuing, like a big lifestyle change like that.
Yep.
But you don't have to, like, world schooling doesn't, and we've said this before, like world schooling doesn't have to mean like a big lifestyle change or going on a big long trip. You can be a world schooler and be home based and take, a month or a week in some place trips to places for just like a short time, and that's still world schooling as well.
Yeah, take spring break. Kids are out for spring break. If you're in traditional public school, take the opportunity to go somewhere and pretend like you're living there for a week. So, yeah. Anything else?
No, I think that's it.
Okay.
Well, that's all for today. Thank you for joining us on this episode of World Schooling Q&A with Astrid and Clint. Be sure to check out the show notes for any links we mentioned in the episode, and visit my website, thewanderingdaughter.com, to dive deeper into world schooling and family travel.
If you like what you hear, please consider supporting The Wandering Daughter on Patreon. It really helps us out and keeps the show going. You'll also get exclusive perks like episode transcripts, additional resources, access to office hours with us, and more. You can find us on Spotify or the podcast app of your choice. If you're listening to this on Spotify, you can tap the bell icon to get notified when new episodes come out. And if you like this episode, please give us a 5-star review. It really helps new people find our show.
If you're watching this on YouTube, don't forget to like and subscribe and tap the bell icon to get notified of new episodes. You can follow me on Instagram @WanderDaughter or follow The Wandering Daughter on Facebook. Links to these are also in the show notes. If you have any world schooling questions you'd like us to answer for future episodes, feel free to throw them in the comments or send us a message at thewanderingdaughter.com/podcast. Until next time, happy travels!
Bye!